What up? What up, folks? Jiu-jitsu here. Let's tap in. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of competition. 5 in particular. Let's get into it. 1, I want to talk about confidence. Confidence is very important. You can build a lot of confidence from training anyway, but getting out there in that setting where you're uncomfortable, where you're training with someone that you've never met before, you're under a lot of pressure. Coaches are yelling at you. Their coaches are yelling at each other, yelling at you, yelling at somebody, yelling at the chaos, the adrenaline pump, dealing with your nerves and whatnot. That's a very useful experience. It was helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for you. That confidence from, using your best game against an opponent you've never met, being, on a stage in front of people or just in a room where people are watching you. I mentioned before, I have a lot of experience, public speaking and being on display. And from the Aikido days, I've done demonstrations in malls and things like that, Cherry Blossom Festival and so forth. So I have a lot of experience with that, things through work, school, public speaking, giving demonstrations for things related to work and, and to martial arts. I think that's a good benefit, and confidence comes from that exposure, but also being able to apply your game, and whether you win or lose, being able to see where you can grow and actually just get the exposure from being out there and trying something new in a setting that's uncomfortable or unique. Number 2, expanding your game, building your skills. You're going to build a lot of skills from competition in a way that you've never thought about before. You can train with the same people all the time, you can go to different gyms, but you'll build a lot more skills because you'll always have a checklist or a list of things that you have trouble with. For instance, one of my matches I had with Grappling Industries, I had trouble before the first time using guard. I haven't used guard. I just, when I normally train, I would use guard, but I realized that I wasn't as comfortable with it, right? Or a situation at Tap Cancer Out where I didn't use my guard at all. And I was held in, side mount for 2.5 minutes. And that was a situation where I wasn't comfortable with my game. I had a checklist of things that I could work on, like trying to work on my escapes, knowing when to bail, when to stand up instead of fighting from the ground in some cases to make space and, find a new position, and when to give up guard and go on to something else when I know my guard's going to be passed. So those are some things that I've noticed from that, and that skill, that building that skills, those repetitions, that being in a new environment and working with different body types will help expand your game, your skills, and it's a very important part of, I think, the growth and development, and it's been useful for me. Number 3. In 3, we're going to talk about the community aspects. You have it anyway, but I think, being in a competition setting, you're going to be exposed to so many different people. You're going to meet different coaches. You're going to train with different people. You'll make all kind of friends. There's folks I've met who I've competed with or on the same day. And, some folks that I'm friends with now, it's because we were standing next to each other looking at someone's match or maybe I saw their match in between mine and liked what they were doing and ended up cheering them on and vice versa. Or maybe someone beat me in a match and I appreciated what they did. Big up to Islam. This guy put me to toe hold. I love toe holds now. Why? Because this guy caught me with it. I wasn't exposed to it, or at least didn't think I had to worry about the footlock game. And that made me pay more attention to those things earlier on. So big ups to Islam. Also, really, really, really understanding that I might not have had that experience without it. So very useful, very helpful. That community aspects has continued to grow for me with competition, mat hopping, and gym hopping, etc. That competition realm kind of forces you into a wider setting with so many different people from different environments, places, etc., different skill sets, and it's a nice little mixer in place for you to kind of get exposure. Number 4, mental toughness. I want to talk about mental toughness for a second. You may have that anyway. Obviously, you'll get it from training. It takes a lot of discipline and adversity you'd have to overcome, and, a lot of stress and trials and tribulations to actually continue to grow, whether from first stripe to your last stripe to blue belt and so forth. And I'm speaking from the purple belt mile marker on the road, a year into that rank for whatever that means. I think that that experience, that mental toughness comes from the environment. Competing, you got to be tough. You got to be tough here, everywhere. You got to believe in yourself. When the chips are down, you're tired, having that energy to just go for it, throw all the chips on the table. Goes back to the confidence thing too, being able to really believe in your game and learn how to believe and trust in your ability. But whether you're going to win or not, throwing it out there and actually just giving all you got. You look up at the clock, I've done this, you see you're down a lot of points. You might be able to go for a submission. You know, what's the risk, right? You're already losing anyway. The fact that you can really tough it out, and even though you're experiencing adversity, whether it's your partner stronger or, you know, you're just getting the floor mop with you because you're just not prepared for whatever reason, or you just got caught, really pushing through and digging deep, you know, seeing the outcome, getting to the end, not giving up too soon, really pushing yourself further and building upon that so that you're more comfortable and you can expand more, continue to grow and develop because you're pushing yourself and not giving up when you're in these tough situations. And that may just be because you're tired, and we've all been there. Exposure to different styles. So you train with the same people all the time. You're going to learn the same similar techniques. You're going to be forced to deal with different types of competitors, different types of jiu-jitsu when you compete. You may do that in open mats, when you gym hopping, etc. When you're in a setting like a competition, you're going to get what you're going to get. Situation that I've been in, like a grappling industries, where you have a stacked division and maybe there's 25, 30 or more people in your division, you're going to have 4 or 5 matches. You're going to go through the gauntlet. And it's guaranteed to give you exposure so that you can get used to rounding your game out. You deal with people that move differently, people who play guard, people who don't play guard, people who do foot attacks, etc. There's all type of different games that you'll be forced to deal with. You'll be forced to deal with your shortcomings too. Maybe you're comfortable with just playing open guard and pulling guard. You have somebody who's great at guard passing, or someone who also plays bottom, right? And then you got to figure out how to make things work. It may force you to change your game. It might end up with somebody with a good standing game, like a wrestler or somebody that's good at judo, who can just take you down constantly and just break you down mentally, right? So you'll deal with different things that will give you a different set of adversity and will actually force you to grow and troubleshoot so that you can figure out how to improve and not to get so blocked and mentally stressed or stuck in situations where you can't operate the way you normally will. Another thing, skills under pressure. We kind of bundled that a little bit. Using those skills when you have no choice, right? You have to improve, right? So I think the bonus aspect here that I'd like to cover, it's fun. You may get the bug from competing. Please do it at least once. I guarantee you'll have a good time. It may be tough, it may be stressful, but I promise you, once you get out there, face your fears, you know, you have a good time whether you lose or win, you'll feel so much better that you've just experienced this thing at least once, whether it's a local competition or it's a structured venue like a Naga, grappling industry, etc., etc., etc. I've done grappling industries, I've done Naga, I've done Good Fight, which is submission only, which is interesting. I've done new gi and no gi across the board. I haven't done IBJJF yet, but that's on the list, hopefully this year. And I've done PBJJF, always mess that one up. And there's plenty of other things out there, venues, and I'm just happy to have the exposure and some local gyms here that I've done competitions at just to get the exposure. Those are my notes. I hope this is helpful. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Are you competing? Have you competed? Do you have any apprehensions? Any advice I can provide for you? I can tell you, once you do it, and if you get the bug, you're going to still be nervous and you're still going to be, you know, concerned before you get on the mat. But if you treat it the way I like to treat open mat, where like I'm there as much as I can be, and I'm always rolling with people new or people more skilled than me and etc. and gym hopping, make it feel like another day in the office. At some point, you'll still get those nerves, but you'll be more accustomed to being like, okay, it's game time. Like you'll get out on the mat and you'll be nervous when you take those first 2 steps. You know, you bow, you greet, you shake, you bump, and then you'll just get in the zone, do your thing, and you'll be with it. You just have to get that muscle memory. If that's something you're interested in, I encourage you to at least do it once. But like I said, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and tap in. Go tap in. You want to tap in. So it's tap. And you put your right tap in, you take your right tap out, you put your, let me stop.